Yeah, we are good. We're recording here. We're recording here. We're recording there.
We're good to go.
We are good to go.
Let's do this, baby.
Hello and welcome back to the Litness podcast, the only place online balancing lifestyle with fitness. Now, it's been a little while since I've done this. It's been since 2019, in fact. And I've got a new co-host for the day, so everybody say hello to Miles, James and Nazaire.
Wow, no one's ever done the James Nazaire.
Well, we're best friends. I know the middle name.
Hello.
My brother. So, basically, Miles and I have been chatting over the last God knows how many weeks, and I personally feel like I'm a 31-year-old single man who's not afraid to talk about stuff, but because I haven't spoken about an awful lot that's gone on in my life over the last year, I think people might think that it's all rosy and things are going brilliant, but
Yeah.
I think I've had a very turbulent last 12 months, to say the least, and I just want to use my platform to talk about it, to make sure that everybody out there who may be going through similar situations knows that they're not on their own, and this whole life of social media isn't as glitz and glam as it may seem. So
Yeah, 100%. I think you've, especially in the the beginning of this year, for you has been kind of up and down with so many different, not only opportunities, but emotionally with just everything in your personal life as well. So yeah, it's been a long couple of years, but like where you are now, especially, it's actually quite like, it's like actually the perfect time to do the podcast now, because I think, especially with what's going on at the present day, it's really great.
Oh, amazing.
Because if we had done it a few weeks ago, I think it would have been more of a downer. And we were just talking about this before we did the podcast, is it's crazy how your life can change within a matter of like days and weeks. Mad.
But every guest that comes on my podcast, because this is slightly linked to fitness, I've got a feature called Get It Off Your Chest. So, is there anything, it might have been today, it might have been over the last week, is there anything that you want to get off your chest?
You know what? I will. And it's crazy the fact that I'm going to say this on a podcast.
Yeah.
And I haven't even told you about this. And I don't know why now, because you've just asked that question, it's kind of come into my head. It's not like getting off my chest, but I decided, which is rare for me, because you and I and our kind of small group of mates, like if we have an issue, we'll kind of talk about it. But the last week, well, let's say 3-4 days, I've been anxious as fuck and really like tripping out on my own a little bit, and it's been freaking me out, and I've had some really bad sleeps, and weirdly enough, like moments where I've got to like settle with my own thoughts and sit down and tell myself that I'm okay. So I'm not gonna say I was depressed for 3 to 4 days, but I definitely didn't feel like I was myself, because I was overthinking about so many different things. And I also had a few dark thoughts, which I've had years ago. And it was just really weird to go through that again the last week. And I haven't really told anyone, because I was like, I'm actually just gonna focus on this myself for a little bit, and then when I feel like I'm a bit better, I can then kind of say, oh yeah, I wasn't doing so great. So I wasn't doing so great, but now I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I actually didn't prep Miles for that at all. I was interested to see what he was going to say, and thank you for sharing that with us.
No worries.
Because, again, and that is the whole point of this podcast, I don't want people to think that you haven't got stuff going on, but you being brave enough to share that on my channel, let alone your channels, whatever it is, I mean, that's amazing. So thank you.
No worries. I thought it'd be a good opener.
Yeah. We got to pick it back up now, but I don't think it's going to come straight back up. Okay, so I think the last time probably people saw me on, like, fully in social media, not that I haven't been doing it for last year, but, like, let's wind back to, I guess, I had probably one of the worst Junes you could ever imagine. So people have seen me on social media, nice and happy, in a relationship, things are going well, had my job at F45, was doing loads of brand deals, had my management, like everything was going great.
It was funny, because from an outside, God, you can really hear everything.
You can hear everything.
From an outside perspective, from last year, it was very much, even though there was lockdown and COVID, you were living this very like high life of, okay, got an amazing job, making loads of money a month. Like, I remember you telling me, I was like, Jesus Christ, man, you're caking it right now. It's great. Although I think I only found out kind of later on that you were not extremely happy in what you were doing, but you were doing really well. You're like, honestly, like everything was kind of working.
Yeah. But I wasn't not happy at all. There were periods where I was like super happy, but I think what I've gone through over the last year has made me realise exactly what is important in life, who you should be surrounding yourself with, and actually, we'll go on to talk about it. So June was probably the worst month I've ever had. So I obviously had my management. They let go of me.
Yeah.
And they said they thought it was better that I self-managed. And I was like, better for who? It doesn't sound better for me.
God.
I stupidly was in talks with a company, and I posted another company's brand on my stories without even thinking about it.
Was that Muscle Food?
No, so that was...
Protein.
I was with the Protein Works.
Yeah.
I posted up something from my protein, not even thinking about it, and I lost my contract with them.
I remember that, yeah.
And then not long afterwards, I got dumped. And I think the biggest thing out of all of it's shit losing your management, but I do lots of stuff myself, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. The brand thing, oh my God, yeah, it's a little bit of a blow, but the girlfriend thing for me was probably one of the best things. And I think, yes, you saw me and her on social media, and yes, I said when we broke up, but other than that, I didn't really say anything. And I think...
Yeah, you kept it very quiet.
I kept it very quiet because I had too much respect for the relationship and whatever had gone on, and I didn't feel like I wanted to put it all out there. But recently, I've realised, number one, that I use my social media and talking about things as my form of therapy. Like, that's essentially what therapy is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got, luckily for me, you and Jamie around me, and also a couple of other mates who are very, very close, who I feel like I can talk to. But now I've got to the point now where, as I said, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's gone on in my life which is probably very relevant to other people, but unless other people hear that other people are going through the same thing, then they might not 100%. Think it's real. So
100%. The girlfriend thing was very interesting because it's when you were even dating her in the beginning, you kept, even though you were kind of showcasing your relationship on social media, TikTok videos, Instagram, going on holidays and everything, you to your boys, and maybe more so me, because we at that time wasn't as close as we are now, you didn't really share much about what was going on in your relationship, even though on social media it looked like you guys were happy and together. And then when going from that, and then I remember the sudden kind of moments of you kind of breaking up with her, or it ended. That's where it was like, oh, interesting, there's a lot of more backstory to this than I assumed, because it's one of those things where I always say this, social media is fickle, and it's a place where we show our best life naturally, and if you choose, I respect people who like to show the bad moments and share a lot of things, and I do that as well, you do that as well, occasionally, but for it you kind of like, okay, this is my best life, check it out. So watching you from afar was very much, look at this, we're going on holiday, look at this, we're going to Dubai together, we're going to these amazing summer holidays, we're TikToking videos and Instagram, and it looks from the exterior you're having this amazing relationship and couple goals, #couple goals. And I remember the first time I met her, we had acai bowls, and you literally had your first date with her, and we were like giggling outside the restaurant going, yeah, sure, this is gonna last. And then it did for a bit. But you learnt so much from it.
I've learned so much myself, and I don't want this to turn into anything about her, because this is all about me and my feelings, and my emotions. And don't get me wrong, I was very, very happy for a long period of that relationship. I think the thing for me, and this is all I really want to say about it, is I've worked so long and hard to do what I want to do and what I love. And in fact, this was sort of like the nail in the coffin. Alex, who you'll all know from the podcast, he's been hosting it for me until now. He rang me up one day and said, bro, can I come and do a session with you? And I was like, yeah, why? Anyway, he came into F45 at lunchtime, and he was like, what's up? Like, this was like 10 minutes before the class started, and I just broke into tears. And he was like, I know something's not up. And he said that I just started talking very negatively about myself and about what I was doing and his career path and stuff. And he was like, he literally grabbed me by the shoulders, and he said, listen to what you're saying. Where's the old David gone? And that literally was enough for me. Yeah. In that moment, I completely snapped out of it. And I was like, it was almost like a cartoon going like that. And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah. So I brought it up in the relationship, and I said, I am not willing to not do what I love for anybody. Because I've been doing this for 6 years now, and I just got to the point where I was like super successful from a business perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get it. Like, relationships are all about compromise, but you can't compromise to the detriment of your own happiness.
Yeah, of course.
And without even realizing it, I think that's what happened. And again, don't get me wrong, I got loads of benefits out of that relationship, positive things. I learned lots about myself, but a relationship needs to be about two people bringing each other together. And that's not to say that the other half of the party was, I'm trying to put this in a way that doesn't make anybody sound too bad, but like, you can either grow with each other or you can grow apart.
Well, also, there's a saying that people go, oh yeah, you know, relationship is 50-50. I think that's complete bollocks. It's 100-100. You put 100% effort in, and the other person puts 100% effort. And for me, compromising on your life for someone else, especially your career, I don't agree with. The purpose of a beautiful, amazing relationship is the power of knowing that you are an add-on as much as they are an add-on to your life.
Exactly.
And you've got to know when you go in a relationship. I think that's why I'm more and more honest to girls nowadays. Like, this is what my plan is. I've got my own life to live. At the end of the day, you're not going to live it. No one else is going to live it. So if you take away from that life, you're not meant for me. You've got to understand that I am on this journey, you're on your own journey, and we're going to add so much value to each other's journey, but we're add-ons. That is it. And I am happy on my own. And I think what happened with you, and this is me talking from a perspective of what I saw online and kind of talking to you bit by bit before I got to really know what was going on. You know, from an outsider's perspective, it looked very much like you started, like it's not that you lost yourself. You did in the end, but you started to stop doing the things that I saw online as temptation.
Yeah.
And it was less videos. You almost looked embarrassed. Like, I hate to say it, but like sometimes I felt like this person was maybe neglecting and also kind of dismissing your job so much that you felt embarrassed to do Charlotte Chef Boy, all of that, all that persona that you've worked, like you've said, over the years to become this character and this brand. And I saw it was fading. So I'm not surprised you got in tears with Alex.
It's funny that you used the word persona, because I guess looking back on it, it felt like it did turn into that. Like, you know what I'm like day to day. I love doing that content. I love creating content. I love being loud and I love doing stupid stuff, and that's me. But it almost felt like, maybe because it wasn't accepted or it was seen as a different job or whatever it was, I felt like I had to try hard to do the things that I love as opposed to it coming naturally.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, the position that I'm in now, I've got a few very, very close people to me who bring me up regardless of whatever, and I don't need validation. I think that's another thing. Like, I don't need my friends to tell me you're doing great, you're doing this, but it's nice to have supportive people around you. And there's a difference between doing things for your friends to like you, for them to tell you you're amazing, to get validation, and doing the things you love and having people around you back you up and tell you that what you're doing is fantastic.
Well, you also need, one thing that we've learnt over the years is we care less about what the majority of the group think about what we do, and we care more about what our actual mates are thinking of us and their genuine opinion of us, of what we're doing and how we're exceeding in our life. The Dick and Dom from Raffles saying, I don't, agree with what you're doing on social media, give a shit. Yeah, you're living your life, I'm living my life. But for example, I know to this day, if you came to me and said, by the way, mate, this is going on, I think, maybe calm down on here, whatever it was, as an example, you listen to that a lot more. So I think you becoming less of yourself with this relationship was hard to see, because obviously we love the person you are, and the fact that someone who you're supposed to be falling in love with and creating a future with is dismissing that was hard to see from the exterior.
Yeah. It was just so hard for me because I thought everything was going in one direction, and genuinely everything that I was doing, I was putting into, like, physically, money-wise, putting into something where I thought I was going to relocate, do this. I was thinking of what my future plans were, and then it just all came crashing down. Yeah. I admit I lost myself in that relationship, and I also think, the reasons why I do stuff. I cook my top off because it's a proof point of my Litness program. I document my day-to-day because people need to buy into me as a personal trainer. I document me going out drinking because it's part of the lifestyle. And if you see me in a certain shape and you see me doing other stuff, it all ties together.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't get why you're doing it and they start telling you you're doing things for validation, you're just pissing into the wind. You're fighting an uphill battle. And I didn't need to convince anybody that what I was doing was for the right reasons or for the reasons that I was saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, without going too far into that, it ended at the end of June. Alex just woke me up, sort of thing. And then, yeah, I am a very stubborn person, but as soon as she said it was over, in my head, it was over because I realised what was happening and I was like, right, cool, I'm done. That happened the Friday. I think the Sunday, Portugal were playing and everyone was sending me DMs like giving it because we used to watch the football together, and I just said, look, I couldn't deal with all the messages coming in, and I was like, look, we've broken up, whatever. Anyway, apparently that was the wrong thing to do. It was like childish, immature, but I just wanted to be like, look,
is that what she said? Is that what she said?
Yeah.
The thing is, this is what annoys me because even though she says that's childish and immature, she knowingly, when you guys first started dating, knew that your life was on social media. Like, you've got to accept you for who you are, and understand that this is part of my job, and you share, like myself, a lot of our private life. Okay, obviously we're going to keep a lot of like things to our chest when it's things, you know, that matter, and maybe family stuff, whatever, but like when it comes to just the what's going on in your life, you love to share, and that's what we love, you know, that's why we love you so much and why people love you to follow you. So her going and saying that was, you know, stupid, whatever, it's like, no, because clearly if your job is to be on social media and you post a lot about your relationship on, and I know loads of people go like, oh, how dare you do breakup videos on these YouTubers? I'm like, of course they're going to do it because their fan base have been following their relationship and their personal life for so long. They're going to be like, oh, all of a sudden your girlfriend's not in the videos anymore. Why? Yeah. And then it annoys you because you'll get messages all the time going, where's your girlfriend? Why is your girlfriend not there? And it's so annoying. And I know this because I get it with Chelsea where they'll see something and all of a sudden someone's out of my life or someone comes into my life and then I have to kind of answer it, but like, what happened there? And you feel like, not that you have this job to answer to your followers, but you kind of do.
Yeah, you don't owe it to anybody. It makes it an awful lot. It's strange, isn't it? England playing Portugal. Why aren't you watching it together? Really, these have scored. This is happening. I thought, fuck this. And obviously, I was in a shit like space anyway because I'd just been dumped. Like, fuck that. Just say it's done. Don't ask me any questions. Cool. But again, some people may look at it as, oh, he's looking for sympathy. I couldn't give a fuck about that.
No, of course not.
And in fact, I didn't even say anything to you, did I?
No.
So basically, Miles and I got very, very close over lockdown.
Yeah.
And then I got a girlfriend. You were in a situationship. Nothing happened at all. We were still chatting and whatever, but 100%. It was just my weekends were spent doing other stuff. Anyway, at that moment, Miles rang me up and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, yeah. And he was like, are you okay? Anyway, we had a big heart-to-heart.
So this is funny because, I mean, not that I'm going to get into who my old friends were, but I was, that time I messaged you, for me was also a big breakthrough for me because I was told by an old friend of mine, who's no longer my friend, you kind of chose my groups and my friends and was very judgmental on who I hung out with and kind of owned part of my life, which was really difficult. And I remember when I saw that there was a problem with you, I was with that person in his house and he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm calling temps because he's not okay and I can clearly see. And me and you had got along so well in lockdown. And yeah, of course you got a girlfriend and you're going through your own thing. And you know, sometimes for people out here who listen to this, do not hate your friends who get into relationships and distance themselves from mates. It is normal. It is how things work. Just if they are a true friend, they will be there and you have to be there for them no matter what. So I remember seeing you not okay and clearly you weren't yourself. And I saw from the months before you broke up, you weren't yourself. In that moment, I didn't even think twice. I called you straight away. I was like, you're okay. And we had a bit of a heart-to-heart. We actually spoke on the phone for like an hour.
Yeah.
And it was great because I hope it allowed you to feel more free to kind of express yourself and rant a little bit on the phone.
You were one of few people who did that, who were close to me at the time. And that is why I know that we've got such a good friendship because of that phone call. Anyway, so that all happened.
Yeah.
And then how'd you get over a relationship? I did what I thought was the best thing to do. If you can't get over one, get under somebody else. But the horrible thing about this was we'd just gone through a massive lockdown, right?
Yeah.
And a trip that I had planned with the Yacht Week 2 years prior was now coming up. It was supposed to be a really fun time, but I'd just been dumped, and it was like a week later.
Yeah. Was she supposed to come with you?
No.
Really?
No, it was supposed to be lads' holiday. It was Alex and I, and then Jamie, and it was a paid trip on the media boat for the Yacht Week.
Okay, fair.
And I should have been looking forward to it, like a week with the boys, but I was just so like, oh, fuck this. But because it was a week drinking on a yacht, in the sun, girls everywhere, I was like, come on, just get yourself into it. You'll be okay. But I was sort of, and I went through this for a period that we've spoken about quite a lot. I was trying to have fun, but it wasn't coming naturally.
Yeah.
And I went away, like, had some fun. I shagged a girl, and it didn't feel that great. Obviously, because you're so used to having intimacy with somebody else for over a year or whatever.
You almost feel like you're cheating.
Yeah.
Which is the crazy thing. But I think also, like you just said, you're kind of pushing yourself to have fun, especially when you're with boys. You're like, they're also there to like lift you up, and there's no right way to deal with a breakup. Honestly, there isn't. Some people deal with it in different ways, and I commend the people you can like, you know what, I'm just gonna focus on myself and not go out, and great. But I'll tell you right now, you do that for a month, that person will still have a month of getting loose at some stage. It's something within going through a serious relationship and then breaking up that you have to. There's a sense of, I need to go wild now.
Yeah, but also don't lie to yourself. I'm gonna say this open and honestly because we're doing this podcast. There was an element of me that was like, fuck you. I'm gonna go and have some fun. I'm gonna get with girls. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that.
Of course.
And you're almost trying to fill the void that you've now got. And everyone said this to me at the time. It was like, it will not make you feel any better. And I was like, but it's kind of like self-sabotage. But it's self-sabotage, isn't it? You want to hurt about something, so you go and fuel yourself with something else.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say that. Like, I tried to get over it by shagging people, but it doesn't help. So I had a week away on the Yacht Week. Should have been the best week of my life.
I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
How many girls did you shag on your week?
It was only one, to be fair.
Fuck off.
No, seriously, it was one. No, seriously, it was one.
Come on. Don't lie.
I swear on my life, it was one. Multiple times.
Okay, how many? Okay, did you kiss a lot of people, or did you just shag? Did you shag one person and kiss loads of people, or did you go on Yacht Week and basically have like a Yacht Week romance with someone?
No. So the funny thing about this is I probably kissed a couple. I mean, I was like, paralytic drunk. If you see videos of me, I was dressed up as Santa Claus in swimwear, like spraying bottles from the top of the thing. I was doing shotguns.
Also, I can just imagine how you are, and it's fucking.
It was
brilliant.
like me times 100. Like, because I was just trying to get so pissed. I don't know why. I was just.
Well, you're trying to numb yourself.
I was trying to have fun, and I associated having fun with shotgunning beers at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a unspoken rule about when you're on holiday, especially on a boat in the sun. There is no time to not drink.
Yeah.
Literally, you can at 8 a.m. wake up. You can have a glass of rosé. Obviously, I'll drink rosé and you drink beer, but you know.
I was shotgunning those spritzers. Fuck. They don't taste of anything. Before you know it, you've done 6 of them and you're fucking smashed again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so funny story about this. I probably did kiss a couple of girls in the first couple of days, or whatever, but I was just like so either drunk or like not having fun, trying to have fun. But I remember there was this one day when we were in Havana, Carpe Diem.
Oh, Carpe Diem.
And I just started crying in the middle of the club.
No.
And Jamie saw me and he was like, come out here. Anyway, so there's this beautiful club on an island.
Yeah,
like,
I've been.
You've been to
I've been to
Carpe
Carpe, bro.
Wow. So if you go out the back of the club, there's this like pontoon, and you can just see the sunset.
Beautiful.
Jamie and I were sat on this rock. I was in tears, and we were just like, "Wow, like life's actually good, isn't it?" I was like, "It doesn't matter that I'm heartbroken. Like life is good." Anyway, this
reminds me of us at my old place
on the roof,
looking at the sunset or the sunrise.
You're like, man, life slaps, doesn't it?
You know what? We can do anything.
Anyway, so Jamie and I sat there. I'm crying. He's like consoling me.
Yeah.
And these 2 girls, not a care in the world. They didn't give a fuck about anybody else. We just saw them having a few drinks. They were like laughing, joking around. And all of a sudden, one of them just takes all their clothes off. She had just had a bra and knickers on underneath. And then she jumped in, and her mate was like, "That looks like fun." And they weren't doing it for attention of anybody. They were just in the moment, having fun. No phones out, nothing. Oh yeah, I also didn't have a phone because I lost it on the taxi on the way there. So I went on this influencer trip to do work, and I couldn't do anything. Missed that bit out. That bit out.
Nice.
So we just saw these two girls having fun, and one of them called over like, "Stop crying, come on, jump in." And I was like, "Do you know what?
Yeah.
What a legend." So I whipped my clothes off and jumped in, and we were all just mucking around. Anyway, everyone was like off their nut in the club, and they were like, "Do you want to go get some dinner?"
Sorry, what time is this?
No, this was early. It was like a day party kind of thing.
Okay.
Carpe diem on the island.
Yeah. So I thought you were talking about this was like 3 a.m. You're like, should we get some dinner?
No, this is as the sun was setting.
Oh, beautiful.
It was beautiful.
That.
Anyway,
Love that.
Jamie and I found ourselves back on a boat, like one of the ferry boats that take you back to the island with these two girls. And we were like, "Are we about to go on a date?" Anyway,
nice.
We went to Old Town Havar, found this little sushi restaurant, and we were eating dinner with these girls. And fucking hell, bless this poor little girl that I sat down with. No, she wasn't a little girl, that sounded weird. Bless this young woman who I sat down with. I just started like crying my heart out, letting it all out, and I was just crying. I literally didn't give a fuck what anybody thought about me.
So you were in a restaurant, you just met these girls, and you're eating food, and you're like crying to this girl.
And bearing in mind, Jamie was only... Well, he'd been single a few months at this point, but he was still going through the same. And every girl we spoke to, we were telling them our life stories. They must have been like, "Oh, fuck this."
I really hope one of these girls watch this.
Oh, they're legends.
I'm that girl.
They're legends. Anyway, one thing led to another, and ended up sleeping with her. She found it endearing that I was just so open about
I hate to say that, but that's a great line.
Yeah, they say you can laugh somebody into bed. You can also cry them into bed.
You know, I've not tried that yet. I might have to give that a go. Just like, why are you sad?
No, don't try and cry. You can't pretend.
Can I use your story for mine? You're gonna see me in raffles being like, "Is Miles crying?" Shh, it's technique.
Anyway, so I had a week of hard drinking.
Yeah.
And at that time, you had to quarantine when coming back. So I'd gone from 7 days of drinking into 5 days of isolation. Luckily, Jamie stayed at mine.
Longer, no. At that time, it was
it was
2 weeks. Bro, at that time it was 2 weeks.
I'm about to incriminate myself about what I'm going to say then.
Did you do 6 days?
Well, no, because so we got back the Sunday, and then my birthday was the Saturday, and I had a weekend planned with the ex, but of course I wasn't going to sit indoors doing nothing. So Jamie was like, "We're going to Ibiza."
To be fair, actually, maybe it was a week then.
I think you had to do day 5 release, didn't you? And then but we actually went on the 5th day, so we had to wait until that came through, and then we flew out.
To be fair, I forgot about day 5 release. Yeah, you didn't do anything incriminating, don't worry.
So, heavy week of drinking, came straight back, and England were playing. What was it? The Euros or the World Cup? The World Cup was on.
Yeah.
So we just spent
that was crazy.
The next few days out and going outside the house, drinking for another 5 days. Incidentally, I got a phone call from a TV production company the 2 days after I got back from Havar. We'll talk about it in a minute because I think it will be out by the time this is released, this podcast.
Oh, wow, yeah. So, Jesus, yeah, of course.
Actually, fuck it, I'm going to say it now. So, I got a call from somebody who asked me for the Circle a couple of years ago saying, "Hey, David, just wondering if you're still interested in TV opportunities. Are you single?" And I was like, funnily enough, I got dumped last week. Probably told her my life story, started crying again.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, you definitely did.
Anyway, I thought this is a great opportunity. When they started telling me about it, it was a dating show. I was going to be away for 6 weeks. I wouldn't have access to my phone. And I was like, for all the wrong reasons, I was thinking, I need to do this show. Because at this time, there was still contact backwards and forwards. And I'm one of these people, if it's done, it's done. It's Brilliant. Over. Let's just cut it. It's out. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, let me sign me up for this. I'm going to be away for 6 weeks. No phone. I'd obviously jumped the gun and thought I was going to do it. Anyway, so I spent the next 5 days just watching football, still drinking beers and stuff, doing nothing in the house. Yeah. And then we flew to Ibiza. And it was the same story. Like, I was just trying so much to have fun. And don't get me wrong, I was with my best mate since I was 5 years old. So we were having a good time. But again, it just did feel a little bit forced.
It's hard to, like... When you go through such like a hard breakup and you're trying to you do try to numb yourself as much as you're trying to like force yourself to have fun. The reason why you're forcing yourself to have fun is because you don't want to think about the breakup. You don't want to feel emotional. You don't want to feel sad. And then you drink, you party, you dance, you kiss, you shag, and nothing helps. No. And the biggest advice I can give to anyone right now listening is you have to go through it because it's a process you've got to go through. But also it's just time. I know it's hard now, but like in a few weeks, maybe a few months, depending, how long it does take you, it will be okay. Something that I saw this talk with these actors, and the guy was like, I think it was Tom Hanks, and he was asking like, oh, what would you give your younger self as advice? And he said, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And I love that, because when he said it, I was thinking about all the moments in my life that I've been stressed, financially, romantically, career-wise, or whatever it is. And then thinking of those simple words of this too shall pass. It's so true, because it is. It will. Anything that you go into your life is a learning experience. It's a place where you have to fault yourself. You have to fail. You have to go through hardship to be the person that you finally will be in your future life, and you constantly will continue to do problems and have issues and have hardship as well, but you learn from every single one, and remember, it will pass, it will go.
Yeah, that's actually such a good quote, and it is so annoying because everyone says to you, time is a healer, it takes time, and it is so true. It's so true. But again, I'm not gonna kid myself. I was looking at her social media, I was missing her, I was doing all these things, I was doing all the mad stuff that people do. Yeah. And again, I don't want to pretend that I wasn't doing that. Yeah. Because everyone out there is doing it, and you need to hear that people are doing the same thing. Anyway, so obviously I was trying to numb the pain by going out partying, but at the same time, this stuff was planned, and it was either go and do it and fake it till you make it and be a little bit unhappy, but try and have fun, or sit at home do nothing. Anyway, after that 2 weeks, I was like, right, this is ridiculous. The only way I'm going to start to feel better is by making myself feel the best I can, and then just trying to deal with those emotions that I've got going on. Yeah. So I was like, right, I just need to get back exercise. I need to start eating healthily again. I need to stop drinking. And I think I went 10 weeks without drinking.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Did 10 weeks without drinking. So sort of from, somebody will probably call me out on this, and they'll have a video saved of me downing beers from like, I want to say from just after my birthday till you got back from York. Which was what, October?
Yeah, October.
I probably had a few drinks in between, but
nothing serious. Nothing like serious. Yeah.
Anyway, so I had a holiday booked to go to Portugal, and I was like, do you know what? Fuck this. I'm actually just going to go on it. And I went on my own. By this point, I hadn't been drinking for a month, and I was like, I'm going to go to Portugal. I'm going to have a good time, and I need something as a distraction. So I was like, I'm going to write a 500 calorie meals cookbook. So during that 4 weeks, I was keeping my head low, really, just processing my emotions, like being in my own thoughts. Yeah. Actually, I was never in my own thoughts, which I think was the hardest thing, because I'd done 2 weeks being around people, and in the nature of my job, I'm fully around people.
Of course, socialite.
Anyway, this it's called The Courtship, the TV show. It's literally just come out in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. This was processing in the background, and I was like, this is brilliant. But again, I put all my hope into this. Yeah. And I was like, no, it's fine, just keep
which is along. You know what? Which is something that you've recently learnt about, especially TV. Yeah. I think more so now, because there's been, up to the present day, there's been a lot more opportunities since The Courtship. Yeah. And I think a massive lesson you've learnt. And also, I think naturally through me as well, because I've been in this TV industry for so long, the biggest thing I've told you, with these opportunities, is never bank solely on a meeting, an interview, even how, it doesn't matter how far it goes into it. You never know with TV, and I think from what happened on The Courtship, because obviously I bet, and the problem is when you get offered these jobs, it's exciting, so you do kind of like, okay, that's it, all the eggs are in that basket, I'm focusing on that. Yeah. But now you've learnt about that, and now you haven't, which is great. I'm really proud of you.
The funny thing is you have to manifest this stuff. Like, you have to say to yourself, this is going to happen, but don't stop doing the stuff that you're doing, because that stuff that you're doing is the reason why you've been noticed to get on that show. So as soon as you stop that because you think you're doing this, it's just counterintuitive.
100%.
Anyway, so that was all going on in the background. I went away to Portugal, had the best time. I just had the best time on my own. I wrote a cookbook, did like 500 sales in the first week. The first day I got to Portugal, NBC rang me and they were like, David, we've got good news. We want you for the show. And I was gassed. That was the motivation that I needed to get the cookbook done. I was like, right, I'm going to be away. Here's the motivation I need to do the cookbook. Spent that week in Portugal working on that, having a great time, eating nice food, sunbathing. Training, literally everything. I was in such good shape as well.
I really hope you can put a picture of your shape in this podcast, because, my God, not only were you tanned, but you were ripped. Yeah. You looked good here.
But that, and again, leading back to my ethos of litness, the byproduct of treating yourself well is the good physique and the good mental health, but you can't see the good mental health.
No.
You can just see the good body. But I was fueling my body with the right stuff. I was getting good sleep. I was doing yoga. I was doing bits of meditation.
Say, I was getting good sex.
Yeah, no, there was none of that.
Yeah,
literally none of that. I was like, I need to cut myself off from everything.
I can't wait till we talk about when you went through a shag.
What?
We both went through a shag and all that.
Okay, that might be for another podcast.
No, because it's...
No, I'm joking.
It comes into this.
Yeah. So first day, I get to Portugal. They were like, yeah, we want you for filming. And bearing in mind, I was in Portugal for a week. And then they wanted me up in York the 2 days after. So I was like, fucking hell, this is happening.
Amazing.
Everyone's brilliant. Anyway, so got back from Portugal.
Yeah.
Sorted myself out.
Sweet.
And then went to York.
Sweet.
So what was the castle?
Castle Howard.
Oh, if you're wondering why Miles knows about this, Miles is about to appear on the show.
Yeah, boy.
So we'd both been cast for the show.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, obviously you know how close we are, but because there was so many NDAs and stuff, you never know of America.
Yeah,
I had to do the most blood tests I've ever done in my whole life.
My God, those blood tests. 8 vials of like that much blood. I've never seen so much blood come out of my body. Honestly, honestly, I remember doing it and he was like, yeah, another 4. I was like, another? What are you testing for?
Yeah, it was mad.
Also, I was kind of like, I really hope nothing comes back. Like, can you imagine?
Funny story about that coming later. Anyway, so yeah, done all these tests.
Yeah.
Miles and I were both casted for this show, but you come in as a bombshell, and it's actually the 17th, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically what happened with my so obviously like just to go into how kind of TV works in one, when you've got someone who does TV and someone who's going in as a like more contestant vibes. Do you see what I mean? So obviously the NBC is made in Chelsea. NBC owns Made in Chelsea, so they were very much like, we'd love to have like a kind of a mini celeb to kind of come in as a bombshell, like in Love Island.
So basically, this show it's a Bridgerton style Bachelorette.
Exactly that. So they called me, I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks before going on, and you were already isolating.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we'd love for you to come on and all that. And I was like, yeah, sweet, let's do the deal. This is the deal. You know, you go through management, talk to Chelsea, all this. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm so used to it, so it kind of just you kind of structure everything around that, and especially when a show takes you out of your own show. Legally you've got to be very, very careful, so they can't just take me out of a show and then not put me on it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things, and also why I did definitely go on it, but because I work in TV anyway. So I remember when I was doing it, I had to do like horse riding. I had to do like loads of different like things to prep, like calligraphy, writing, and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? What sort of show is it? And then they told me that you got to dress up. I was like, dress? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
And then I saw on your stories that you were just like doing mad press ups in this hotel room, and I was like, where is he? Initially I thought you were on holiday and you were like isolating in a hotel and you couldn't leave the hotel room.
Everybody thought, because they thought, because I come back from Portugal, they thought I had to isolate in a hotel. But obviously you can't say what you're doing, can you?
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, Miles was seeing me do that. I was seeing him keep getting in and out of black cabs, and I was thinking, something's going on here.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? Like, we know everything about each other.
Yeah,
I was like, why? What's going on? So I just messaged you saying, what are you doing?
No, you didn't. You messaged, are you going to Yorkshire?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
You were like, are you on your way to York? And I went, how do you know that? And you were like, because I'm there now.
No, and you just put P&P. The working title was Pride and Prejudice,
Yeah,
and Experiment in Romance or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we both figured out. But, so, this question came up recently. Somebody said, tell me of a moment that has changed your life. And this, for me, was this, right? So, bearing in mind, I'd just come back from Portugal, straight into a cab pretty much, all the way up to York.
Yeah.
You're met with people in masks. You're going
Yeah.
to a hotel. You don't know what is going on.
Yeah.
And they were like, right, you need to isolate for 5 days before we start filming. And I was like, okay. I was like, I can deal with 5 days of isolating.
Unfortunately, it didn't end up being only 5 days.
So, fuck me, this was bad. So, not only are you isolating, they take the card away from you, so you literally can't get out your room.
Yeah.
Every contestant is in the same hotel, and you
Yeah.
can't see each other.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you're allowed out of your room for 30 minutes a day, and there can't be any crossover of contestants. Now, there was 18 contestants who actually got on the show,
Yeah.
and then there was 2 extra.
Yeah.
So 20 people.
3 extra counts to me.
Oh yeah, 3 extra. That couldn't see each other. So when I say you're isolating, you are in a tiny little room for 23 and a half hours a day. You're told that your food gets delivered between 7 and 9, 12 and 2, 6 and 8.
Yeah.
And you have to order your food the day before.
Yeah.
So it's literally
It's like
prison.
prison. It was just to let people know where it was at the Marriott Hotel, which, no offense to the Marriott, I've stayed there a few times, definitely for like, work stuff, but going to the Marriott Hotel for like a night stay is fine.
But that isn't a good representation of a Marriott. That is a very, very dated one.
A very dated one.
With no access to a gym.
The windows were tiny.
You couldn't open the windows.
No, it was horrible.
I had a knife in there, like trying to undo the things just to get a bit of air.
It was terrible, yeah.
Honestly, it was disgusting. And later I found out that everybody was kicking off about everything. They were like, right, you're in this room 5 days. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, there's no point in kicking off about anything.
You weren't a diva.
I wasn't a diva at all.
Being in the TV industry, I feel like I've earned my diva stripes.
No,
honestly. No. There's diva and diva. Okay. There is TV, as it doesn't matter the budget of the show. Okay, and this is something that I've kind of learnt on the way, across the 5 years of being TV. You could put millions of pounds in the budget. They will try to treat cast or anyone who's formally going onto a show the most cheap way possible. Okay, the cheapest way possible, and I don't blame them. They try to navigate themselves around, but especially with people who don't do TV, because they're like, they don't really know. So we're just gonna give you porridge in the morning. You can fill up on that. When I went in the hotel, I was like, there is no way I'm only doing 30 minutes outside. There is no way that I'm getting porridge and like honey in the morning and that's it. And then this shit, the lunch was horrendous. And they were telling me this is how much you get to spend and all that. And I feel like over the years, I've like, I can be a little bit of a diva because I know the industry, and you can't fool me. And when you told me, you're like, no, bro, I kind of just like, stepped back, made sure I stayed in my room, did all this. I was like, bro, next time, be more of a diva. And they actually, in a weird way, they highlight the diva. They kind of like someone who's a little bit of diva.
I'm learning all of this now.
Yeah, 100%.
But I didn't have water for 4 days. I was filling my bottle up out of the tap, and I just thought that was normal. But because there were so many people,
I didn't know that.
All the welfare people were like going from person to person. They must have just thought, it's David's like just fine. He's getting on. Fuck me. I ordered a Nando's and they didn't deliver my fucking chicken.
I saw that on Instagram.
I had 2 sides.
I saw that on Instagram. I remember.
So they went to there's like a Londis or something opposite and got me a packet of cold chicken. And they were like, is this all right? And I went, well, fucking not really. Why don't you just say to Nando's there's no chicken and get them to send another one?
Oh my God, you didn't have water for 4 days.
Yeah, anyway.
Brilliant.
Anyway, fast forward 5 days, I think I'm getting...
Oh,
fast forward 5 days, I think I'm getting out of isolation. No, they messed it up. You had to isolate for 10 days because everybody... Oh, sorry, this is an American show as well. So it was only myself, a guy called Bailey, and then Miles when he came on, who were from the UK. So we could have done it within 5 days to get into the bubble, but everybody who came from America had to do 10 days. Yeah. So imagine that. You've just done 5 days of 23 and a half hours in a room to then be told that you're doubling that time. Yeah. Mentally, that is fucked. But also, horrible. The state that I was in, coming out of a relationship... I was just like, oh my God, I'm in my own thoughts for another 5 days. Yeah. But the whole point of this story is, I think that really, really helped me. And that was the first time that I'd actually been alone in my thoughts. And it allowed me to process everything. And actually, it was telling me the reasons why the relationship ended. It was making me realise that it was the right thing to happen. Yeah. All these good opportunities were coming. And I'd only been single for like a month. And already everything was picking up. Yeah. So I just was like, if I'm not in a relationship where somebody understands it and wants to support that, I'm better off doing my own thing, being on my own, and making the most of all these opportunities. Mm-hmm. Anyway, long story short, and I don't know whether this is bollocks or not, but because they didn't realise the 10-day isolation period, it meant that filming time got shortened, and then I don't know if you had any effect on the amount of English people coming on the show. Whatever reason, I didn't get on the show. Yeah. So I ended up isolated for 3 weeks. They told me that I wasn't on the show, and I was like, okay, cool, these things happen. Can I go home? They were like, no, you've got to stay another 4 days.
Just in case.
Just in case. And I was like, just in case what?
Like, but I know the reason, because I talked to the execs. It was just in case I didn't come on.
So then they wanted another. Yeah.
They had to have a bombshell. They were waiting for the bombshell.
Yeah.
I was the bombshell. Obviously, they wanted like the mini celeb bombshell to come on. Especially as it's an American show. There was only Americans on the show apart from one Brit, and I was like especially from what it is Bridgerton, the Regency era. It's like made in Chelsea. Posh, all that kind of stuff. So it was very much because there was obviously in contracts and things that you do. There's always complications. I'm not going to go into it because also I don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. But there's complications and sometimes it can be delayed in different ways. And I got my main delay was Chelsea. Chelsea didn't want to release me any earlier. They wanted me to finish the season, and luckily I love Chelsea and I've been with them so long, so we worked around it. But it was very much the fact that if I didn't come on time or at all, you would have gone on. So I'm sorry.
So you're the reason that I didn't get on TV.
Jokes aside, though, obviously it was the headspace I was in. After isolating for 3 weeks, it was brilliant for me, don't get me wrong, but getting that close to getting onto something when you're in that headspace, I was like,
It's tough. It's tough. It's really tough.
So when we were saying at the start, it's been roller coasters. It's not even just like the relationship stuff or other stuff that happened. It was all these little things, and like when you're so close to doing something, and then it's down,
especially
down.
when personal things like and this has happened to me so many times, when you have personal issues, whether it's family, whether it's girlfriends, whatever it is that affect you, and then you get snippets of your career possibly changing, or you get promotions or whatever it is, it lightens your heart again and eases the pain of whatever is going on in your personal life. So I can only imagine getting so close to that opportunity and then thinking, oh my God, I'm not really thinking about the breakup right now, which is really healthy. I've also not drunk. I'm also in the best condition ever. I feel great. But they're 3 weeks and then finally knowing that you won't do it. Oh, mate, I can only imagine. I mean, I would have fucking broken to share.
Yeah, it was mad. But then I think both you and I are very good at looking at the positives in the situation. I was like, okay, look, you can't be too disheartened by it. I've met some really, really good people. Yeah. Bearing in mind, this production was Endemol Shine, NBC, and Peacock. Like, I met the top directors.
Mate, I mean,
I've made good connections.
I'm not gonna lie, you've met some of probably the biggest dogs in this industry than most of my colleagues on Chelsea.
Yeah,
like and it's the first thing I said to you. I remember, take this opportunity as an experience. Like, I always tell people who go on TV, every time you have an exec meetings with commissioners or any producer, whatever, literally live and breathe it, because you will meet amazing people and they will remember you. And then for anything else, they'll be like, oh my God, I remember that guy, he was really amazing. And it's great. And it's also a learning curve because it allows you to know how to be in the next meeting and what not to do and what to do. Yeah. So, it's out of all of it, although you didn't get on the show, you also did 3 weeks of amazing experience with Can we also talk about how much they put into this show?
It was also very fun, wasn't it? So, like, was it like... Basically, we were on this... It was a set. It was a film set. It wasn't a reality TV show. It was at Castle Howard in York. Like, this massive production. They used to blindfold you to go to location. There were hundreds of people on set. And I say I was isolating for 3 weeks. The last 5 days of that isolation, you did get to go out of your room because you had to learn how to horse ride, you had to learn how to dance, you had to learn how to do calligraphy. Yeah. And we were dancing with the dancers who were on Bridgerton. Like, you were learning proper Bridgerton dance moves.
100%.
Like, it was a lot of fun. So I can't say anything bad about the experience. It was great. It just made me realise how cutthroat stuff is, because it was basically like the execs knocked on my door at midnight. And one of them was being really, really nice. And the other one went, look, let's just cut to the chase. For reasons outside of our control, we can't take you on the show. And I was like, what does that even mean? Yeah. But I was so knackered and I was just like, fuck this, right, cool. Yeah. Anyway, so that happened. I had a very lonely car journey back to London.
That car was 4 hours as well.
Mine was longer than that as well, stuck in traffic. Anyway, but I'd made so much progress. Like, this sounds weird because I've never really thought of like mental health. So I was like, I've made so much progress from the headspace that I was in to now, not been drinking. And I was like, I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing. And I did another few weeks. And I'd already acknowledged that what I was doing wasn't fun. And I was thinking, until I can have fun doing what I love doing again, I don't want to do it. Anyway, Miles is away on the show. He came back sort of end of September, October time, was it?
Yeah.
And we were just having loads of fun.
We when I came back, you were already back to your old ways.
Yeah.
And not even to your old ways. It was a newer version of yourself, but you were back to being temptation and this amazing character and person that you are, in and out of social media, and I could feel it. And yeah, of course, there were still some days that you were a bit down, but it was just amazing. And also, I think because we both lived this experience through that TV moment as well, and we grew a lot closer.
Yeah.
Like a lot closer.
It was literally
time.
from that phone call.
Yeah.
On the 29th of June, wherever it was, until then, and we had we just came back together, didn't we? We had that common bond, whatever it was. But so when I came actually back from the show, I got an opportunity from TikTok to start being one of the creators on TikTok Shop. Actually, yeah, it was around about that time. So I signed a contract with TikTok as one of the content creators doing TikTok shops, and it's very lucrative. Like if you can smash it and get a long-term deal, it was very, very good. So again, I'd come off the show, which was a bit of a down, to going up again in that. I'm not going to delve too much into this, but at the time, I wasn't enjoying my main job so much.
Yeah.
There were a few changes within the role. I was working, it wasn't every hour God sent, but it was hours at the wrong end of the day. So I was getting up at 4:30 Monday to Friday. I was closing the gym. I wasn't sleeping much. I just lost my love for training after I'd loved it so much, getting in shape. I hated training. I was so tired, and without going into too much science about it, when you're tired, your hormones, leptin, ghrelin, cortisol, are all over the show. So it makes you think you're hungrier than you are, and you start eating shit. Anyway, I was eating shit. I wasn't training well. I wasn't enjoying my job. And it was just like, it was bittersweet because there was these other opportunities coming through, but I just wasn't enjoying that.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I loved it for a long, long time. And there was just tension between me and the owner. We didn't agree on certain things, which is fine because things happen in business.
Yeah.
I'm not going to delve too much into that. Anyway, I decided that I wanted to go back to doing what I love. Love the social media side of stuff. I had 350 people on my Litness program before I started that role.
That's mad.
And when, like, hindsight's obviously a beautiful thing, I gave that up to join this company, and then we went into lockdown within 4 months of me doing that. So I'd gone from having an online business of 350 people to absolutely nothing, and then gyms being closed. Yeah. And I'm like, everything could have been so different.
It's crazy when you kind of look at the timeline of what's gone in your life. The literal roller coaster, like you're not joking about it literally being an emotional roller coaster, because the ups and downs that you've had, career, personal, everything, is mad, and in such short amount of time. And this is coming back to what I said before. It's crazy how your life can change in the matter of days and weeks, because and this is a testament of who you are as a person, to pushing the boundaries and keeping yourself up. You know, those opportunities only arise if you have that kind of mental strength to be like, okay, I got shot down, I keep going. Yeah. And it's something that you have, and a lot of people don't. And it's something that I think a lot of people need to work on, is when you don't get an opportunity or you don't get certain things going your way, you can cry all you want about it. Honestly, I'll give you a day. Cry about it that day. Yeah. Tomorrow, get up and work. Yeah. Because if you keep crying, the opportunities that you will have and you should have and you deserve to have, because you think, you know, you've worked hard enough to put yourself in positions, they will not come if you start crying on your couch every day, self-pity, having people go, no worries, it's all good. Fuck that. Fuck that. I hate people who self-pity and want attention from others because they're not doing so well. And it's something that I love about you, and I strive to have that within our friendship and in my own life, is seeing the fact that sometimes it doesn't work out, but you know what? I'm going to do everything in my power to get that next opportunity and to make it work for myself. Yeah. 100%. And you are someone who is very good at that.
Well, you say that. I think the other thing that happened alongside this, so it's about to get quite deep. My auntie got diagnosed with cancer in September 2020, and she was told it was terminal at the time. She went through one course of chemo and decided it wasn't for her. Her son's not out there hippie, but like just believe in other stuff. Like they're very against the system and stuff. And when you look at the cancer industry and things like that, anyway, for whatever reason, they decided to do their own research into it, to the point where my cousin built a sauna outside from scratch. Like they were doing all this other sorts of therapy, and it actually. So she was told she only had a couple of months to live. For those of you that follow me on social media know she died last month. but I think it's so weird. And this is literally the epitome of the roller coaster. I can remember being so buzzing to do my first TikTok shop.
Yeah.
I went into St. Paul's, into the city to do it, and halfway through, and it's funny because I think it was my mum that was watching it. She was like, I could tell halfway through that something happened, and my dad tried ringing me like 3 or 4 times when I was halfway through the live.
I remember this, yeah.
And I just knew that something was up. So my dad was ringing me halfway through the TikTok shop, and something just switched like that. I just knew something was up. Anyway, what should have been like absolutely buzzing for me, that again, those of you that follow me know that I really want to get into TV presenting, and this was like the next step into doing so. Hosting
100%.
channels in a studio, selling stuff. There was like a full studio camera, And then at the end of it, I saw a message from my dad, and it said, "Call me as soon as you can." I called him, and he was like, Nikki's just been told that she's literally like got months to live. Like it's fully got her, and it's curtains basically.
Yeah.
So again, that was, I think, November, December time, and it was just when I started to feel good again, and we'd been going out, hadn't we? So basically, I quit my corporate job. For those of you who've listened to the Litness podcast before, I quit my corporate job because I felt like I was getting into a cycle of going out at the weekend, feeling a bit shit Monday, Tuesday,
living for the weekend.
Yeah,
which a lot
living
of
for the
people do.
weekend. Living for the weekend. The job wasn't servicing me anymore. I'd got everything I wanted out of it, and I just found myself in this little rut of doing that. And again, I found the same thing happened. I was working every hour God sends in the gym, and then I was going home Thursday, Friday to see my auntie every week because I wanted to spend as much time with her as possible. So I was not sleeping well, I wasn't training well, I wasn't eating well. Then I was going home to see my auntie, and although it was the best time that I've ever had, like just spending time with her, but cancer's such a horrible thing, and like I literally saw it take my auntie, and seeing somebody. Imagine me going from who I am now to just like laying in bed.
It's horrible. And I can't. I've had my grandfather passed away from cancer, and then my grandmother passed away not from cancer, but the seeing someone who's full of life, and then suddenly seeing them almost not be able to pick themselves up from a chair for whatever, and their body changing and everything like that is probably one of the hardest things to see, because especially something that you were telling me, and I never met your auntie, but from the stories and the videos you showed me, I was like, wow, this woman is probably the most happiest, positive person I've ever seen in my life and heard of. And and even at that time, she still had this amazing, beautiful smile on her face, and she was, to the end, really, of being this amazing person.
Yeah.
So I know how that is, and how horrible it is to see someone kind of, erode almost.
It's mental. It was absolutely mental. But I obviously wanted to spend as much time with her as I could, so I was going home Thursday, Friday, and then coming back for the Saturdays. And honestly, you boys kept me going through that period. And again, this time around, I think it was different, because I don't think it was so much as trying to numb the pain. It was just having that outlet, and it wasn't always drinking. We did do our fair share of drinking, but it was just having the time with you boys where it took my mind off of it.
Yeah, 100%.
So this time it had gone from like trying to have fun to like enjoying time with the people around me. And I think my auntie gave me a lot of perspective, because it made me realise that it's the people around you that make everything so important. And don't get me wrong, we did some fucking stupid shit during that period. We were going to Manchester, we were drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were spending thousands of pounds in raffles on tables.
Oh my god, we were being very reckless with our money. Like, if my accountants listen to this, I'm so sorry, but we didn't care. But you know what? I kind of love that, because it was short lived. We didn't do this for like 2-3 years. We did it for like maybe 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah.
It was I look back at that, which is not that long ago, but I do look back and go, wow, we had a great time.
It was epic. And you know what? My auntie loved that. And there was an element of me that, like, because she's in a bed all day. She had nothing to talk about what she was doing. She was like, right, what have you been up to in the last week? And you know what our lives are like. We've always got something to talk about.
We've always got a
she was like,
story.
right, how did that date go? How was the night out? And I was just thinking, it's so good. Anyway, my auntie was an absolute a party animal to some extent, but she just loved helping people. She was always in the kitchen. We'd always have family parties around her house, and she was just such a giver. Like, she just wanted everybody to be happy, and I feel like that will live on in me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That the last few months of her being alive was very, very tough for me. I wasn't enjoying my work. That was obviously very upsetting. I wasn't treating myself the right way I should be again, and I was beating myself up about it a little bit. When I mean, it wasn't all doom and gloom, was it? We were having a good time.
We were definitely definitely having a good time. I mean, you know what? It was also I think something that we even said this when we were out one night, and we're like, "Oh, we doing this a bit too much," and I was like, "It's not actually us going out. That's not the point of this whole thing. It wasn't like, oh, we're drinking too much. Yeah, we would maybe, you know, in hindsight, maybe we were drinking too much, but it was all three of us, four of us actually, because Charlie recently came into our group, which." Big up Charlie. Oh, I fucking love that boy. He's a legend. Christian as well came into the group more. But I think in that time when we were all going out, it was more bonding for all of us because I think we were all kind of sort of different. Like me and you were very, very close anyway. But it was also a chance for me and Jamie to get really, really close. Yeah. So it was that time wasn't about what we were doing. It was about why we were doing it. It was like, I want to get to know your best friend, your home friend that you've known for years. Then Charlie kind of came in from, you know, his social group that he kind of wanted to like, you know, train more with us. He recently came to my gym, so he experienced kind of hanging out with us a bit more. So it was more about why we were doing more than what we were doing. Like, we were being a bit of you know, we may have spent a little bit too much money, which I wish I kind of had now, but doesn't matter.
But again, they're the sorts of stories that when you are on your deathbed, my auntie was telling me so many stories before she died. Well, while she was capable of, and I just thought, you know what? If I'm like reading with cancer in a bed at one point, I want to tell my nephew, niece, granddaughter, whatever. I want to tell them those stories. And I always say you don't make stories in your bedroom, but like, well, you do make some memories in your bedroom, but like,
hell yeah, you do.
You need to live those good times. It's all well and good having money, but you can't take it to your grave, so you may as well enjoy yourself and make some funny stories out of it.
Oh my god, yeah, preach, brother. That is something that is definitely memories is. Oh, man, we live this crazy. We live in this crazy world where you try so much to be this perfect person, but there's something that will never change anything is creating amazing, beautiful friendships and experiences with your mates.
Amen to that, brother. Anyway, so that took us into this year, and then I'm not gonna lie. So I ended my job at the end of December.
Yeah.
Again, didn't really say too much about that. It was just a personal decision that I wanted to do. It made me realise that I want to go and do the things that I love again. But also, I took that time to just chill out a little bit. I wanted to spend as much time down in Portsmouth as I could. Luckily, fell into a job at Soho House. Well, not luckily, you make your own luck. But now working at Soho House.
Yep.
Now got a job at BMF. Yep. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that I thought was going on is now not happening. So I didn't sign a long-term deal with TikTok. Mm-hmm. Vaha, which was the interactive mirror that I was working on, doing 5 sessions a week, pulled out of the UK market. Yeah. Basically, everything that I put my eggs in the basket for on quitting my main job to back up my income. Yeah. I lost. I didn't lose everything, but for whatever reason,
it just didn't happen.
It just all disappeared, and I was like, "Fuck!" So this is a shout out to all the self-employed people who run their own businesses. Like I feel you. Like, and again, don't think that I'm earning loads and loads of money, because at the minute I'm not even earning enough money to cover my rent.
You know what? It's one of those things again where, like I was talking about before with Instagram, we show what we want, you know, the world to see and how we live a certain life, but there is so much going on behind closed doors. But what's beautiful about it is that there is as much as there's hardship and annoying things that don't go your way, there are amazing things which are currently going to play right now.
Exactly.
And it's, again, man, it's all a learning curve, man. It's all a learning curve.
Yeah, but the last thing I'm going to say, because this is about to wrap into an hour, I had another pretty big TV opportunity that I thought I'd been so far in the process, and after doing it before, I was like, this is almost guaranteed. But I actually think this, I mean, it was a little bit my fault because I was getting a bit too excited about it, but to some extent, as I said, you need to manifest it. But also, I was turning stuff down because I wanted to do this opportunity. And I saw this opportunity as something that was going to leverage what I was doing. So people were saying to me, can you take on this client? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I was thinking, I can't tell you what I'm doing. but I can't commit to anything. And it got to the point where I was like, I'm not getting any answers about what's happening. So I was like, I'm going to have to commit to stuff. So I started committing stuff. Well, then you know what happened. I had a bit of an argument with
casting people,
and I mean it's not happening now. But there's lots of stuff to be grateful and thankful for.
Yeah.
Although I pulled my hamstring this week. But again, I think and this is a good thing. If you take one thing out of this podcast, not that I want you to like idolize me or look to me for motivation, but I think one thing that I am good at, I'm going to say this myself, is be in your own thoughts to get over stuff. Try and look at negative situations and flip it into a positive.
Yeah.
There's always something good that comes from something.
Yeah.
And even though like pulling your hamstring may seem like maybe something small, or also maybe there's not a lot of good that comes from it, it's made me really put stuff into perspective. I can still train up a body. I can still walk around. Like imagine if something happened and I lost my leg.
Bro, you're breathing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that sounds really like, oh my God, oh yeah, you just breathe. You are, like, some people don't even have that. Some people don't even have a plate of food in front of them for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. We live in such a fast-paced world and we do everything that we want to better our lives, but we forget that there is a whole entire population of people who don't have those opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that you do take from this podcast, as motivational as we can, is really embrace those shit days. Embrace them. There's no point in fighting it, because it's as soon as it's a shit day, as soon as you have bad news, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that you can do. Control your controllables, really. There's nothing that you can do. The only thing you can do is change your outlook on it. Change your perspective on different things. And champion yourself. I don't think a lot of people do this enough. Champion yourself. No one is living your life. One thing that I've always decided is I've stopped allowing people to dictate what is going to happen in my present, my future. And the second I've done that, the more opportunities, the more happy I am with what I'm doing in my life, and the more important priorities I put into place of what I need to do in my life. So stop worrying about what other people are doing. Focus on yourself and always, always champion yourself.
Love that. Honestly, I think that's a good place to end the podcast. There are a few more things that have happened over the last year.
Yeah.
That I don't think just yet I'm ready to talk about. It's nothing that deep. It's more...
oh, mate, I'm here for it. So we'll see you next time.
Miles is trying to make me say it, but I don't think it's the best things to admit or say out loud on there. But yeah,
we've got. If one day we ever do talk about it, and you know, this is completely up to you. I will never... If you don't want to talk about that kind of stuff, but if there is a video that I would like to put on that screen.
Oh my God, there's a lot. Okay, so I'll make this commitment whenever I'm making enough money to be self-sufficient for the rest of my life. I'll tell you the stories just in case.
Just in case you have to pay some sort of lawsuit.
Oh, dearie me. Anyway, I just wanted to do that podcast because I feel like there's been a lot of stuff that I've sort of alluded to on my stories or whatever. Yeah. There's a lot of things that you've seen happening, like me promising things, and certain things haven't happened. But I just wanted to give a bit of context about what's happened over the last year. And as I say, unless other people out there are telling their true stories and letting you know what's going on, you might think that you're the odd one out. But trust me, you're not. And there's an awful lot going on.
100%.
Anyway, let's leave that there. I promise you the podcast is going to get a bit more exciting than that.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for coming on, Mars.
No worries, brother. I'm here for it. Anytime.
Love. Temps out.